listening to the community radio show, WLEE News Talk 990. We got a good discussion here. You guys need to check us out online, youtube.com/community radio show, where we put up, excuse me, all of the in-between and the commercials, because we just had a nice little chat here. I don't think I let Hadi get a single word in.
He didn't, and he's wrong. and you know, the best part of the show is what you guys, we can't put on, we don't, it's between the commercials, the 1 minute commercials.
And it's not like we can't put it on the air because it gets crazy and we're just cussing up a storm or anything.
Like,
no, it's just we don't have the time. Now, hey, if you guys want to fund us and get us an extra hour or something like that, hey,
bro, slow your roll there. Let's get the fun so we can continue the show beyond the next 4 Saturdays, and then we can talk about expanding the show.
Right.
So, but seriously, we're gonna talk to introduce the next guest who's been on hold for a while. Thanks for holding.
Thank you.
It's Fatima Ashraf, is currently working with All Hands on Deck, a new organization committed to finding and motivating the millennial generation to register and vote. In 2008, she organized hundreds of volunteers and registered thousands of voters in the swing state of Pennsylvania. So she was behind Pennsylvania going for the Democrats because they thought it was going to go for the Republicans.
Good.
She's a transplant to Richmond from New York City. What is wrong with her for that? Where she worked for the mayor as an educational policy advisor. Sorry, I'm editorializing her bio here. I can't help it. So far, she's loving the southern hospitality, the warm weather, and loves the south of the James Farmers Market. I have to check it out. All right, let me see if I can do this right. Fatima, are you there?
Hey, good morning,
Good morning. Thanks for holding. How are you?
Yeah, no problem. I'm good. How's everybody over there?
We're good. I apologize for Hadi's comments here. I don't.
I mean, I feel it. I'm still a new transplant. It's an adjustment. Okay. That's good. All right.
Thanks for coming on. So, we got a lot of things that I wanted to get to. So, can you talk a little bit about the All Hands on Deck and what the intent of that organization is?
Yeah, absolutely. So All Hands on Deck is coming out of an attack on youth voters. In 2008, young people were the most important voting bloc that came out to win the election for Barack Obama.
Now, real quick, when you say young, could you just explain that age group?
Yes, we're talking 18 to 35, the millennial generations, the folks that are growing up, coming of age in the late 90s and in the 2000s.
Great, thank you.
All the way from, the new voters that have never voted to folks like us who have voted maybe once or twice before. So we're looking at this group. They were very important in 2008, but in 2012, they are being told over and over again, aren't you disappointed? Aren't you frustrated? Well, maybe your vote doesn't matter. Maybe your vote didn't count. Maybe you should just be apathetic. Right? And so that's where All Hands on Deck came from. We decided to get together and focus on this generation and remind them that, no, it's actually very important that people died for this right for you to vote. You need to get involved. Yes, the situation is less than ideal this time around, but that doesn't mean your apathy is going to make it any better.
It's interesting you mentioned that apathy is because just from the sense that I got the difference between 2008 and 2012 in this particular area was there's this notion of unlimited possibility of what the election of Obama would bring. And I think at some level there was a little bit of idealism behind it. It was kind of like the honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
say we were in the dating and the courtship phase, and then all of a sudden it was a short-lived honeymoon because frankly the economy was about to tank even further than it already did. And so how do you? I agree with your assessment on so how do you I guess part of having an organization is to combat that as far as telling this age group that your vote does actually matter and that it's kind of trying to righting a big ship and you can't just simply turn that and make a U-turn right away.
I mean, let me back up for a second. I mean, the excitement around 2008 was obviously because we had this amazing new candidate who kind of came from nowhere, who looks different, acts different, has a totally different history from the political candidates we've seen of the past. So there was a lot of excitement around this new person, but there was a lot of excitement around the organizing itself, right? Young people, old people, black folks, white folks, Latino folks, everybody was coming together. They were doing parties in their house. They were phone making together. They were hitting the streets together. It was a really big organizing party. What happened after the election is that folks were like, great, we won, and people sat back, right? People sat back, the organizing kind of stopped, and that's where I think stuff started to go wrong, where we got deflated because we weren't actually in the thick of it. right? In 2008, between July and November, everybody was watching debates. Everybody was in the streets.
Right.
After he's elected, from November to January, we're celebrating. January comes inauguration, and we're chilling. Right, we're just watching to see what happens.
And that's when the work really should have started or continued, if you will, after the inauguration.
Right, and so, but it's hard. It's hard to tell anybody, any particular voting bloc, okay, now the vote is over, but now the work begins, when they've just been busting their butts for the past 6 months, you know? Right. So I think what needs to happen in 2012 is three main things. Number one is to get people organized and excited about organizing again. You know, getting those parties in place, getting the debate-watching events in place, organizing what we're calling at All Hands on Deck vote mobs. You gather groups of people together to go to the polls. You gather groups of people together to do voter registration campaigns and all of that. And then the second thing is obviously serious education on the issues. Young people, I think, are actually much more realistic this time around. So in a way, 2008 we were very idealistic, and then the next 4 years kind of deflated us. In 2012, we have an opportunity because we are much more realistic about what can happen between now and 2016, right? So we're not going to talk about hope and change and all of that. What we're going to talk about is, okay, here's our situation. Do you want to pay more in student loans, or do you want to pay less? Do you want more money going to war, or do you want less? Do you want there to be Social Security for you, or do you want less? You know, it's like super, super clear cut, and I think that we can really get to the root of the issues this time around with young people. Okay. And I think the third thing is to, continuously remind them that the past 10 years have shown us very razor-close elections. Votes do matter. In 2000, Bush won in Florida by 537 votes, right? In 2008, Senator Franken in Minnesota won by 373 votes after a recount. Right. And in 2010, here in Virginia, Representative Connolly won by 981 votes.
Right, and I remember in 2006, the senatorial race between current Senator Webb and former Senator Allen came down very close as well.
Exactly. So we're talking about votes that you can count on your hands, people.
Correct.
Right. We're not talking about thousands. We're talking in the hundreds. So young people really need to be reminded. When there's that one apathetic young person who says, it's just me. No, if there's just you and another 100 like you, that can swing an election.
Right. And so I have two questions, and I think I'll ask the second one first. Is we've seen a lot of voter ID laws, if you will, particularly in heavily Republican states. Virginia being one of them. Can you talk a little bit about that as far as some of the new changes and what is now required by law as far as voting? Because you don't want to, if you're going to vote, you don't want to get turned away at the polls because it's too late to try to get your ID the day of.
Right. So most important thing first. Here in Virginia, it's very interesting. Yes, you need ID to vote. However, your voter ID card counts as your ID, right? So if you're registered to vote, or if you just sent in your registration, you will be getting your voter ID card in 30 days or less. Okay. If you don't get it, you call the Board of Elections and you harass them and harass them and harass them until you get that card. If you don't get that card, you will need to produce another form of government-issued ID, like a license or, something to that nature, a state ID card.
But you would still have to be registered to vote. It's not that you can't register to vote and show up with your license and say, hey, I want to vote. You still have to be in their registry as a registered voter.
That's right.
Okay.
You have to register in Virginia by October 15th.
October 15th. Okay?
October 15th. But here's the catch, right? If you let's say you register on October 15th. 30 days from October 15th is November 15th.
Exactly.
Right? It's past the time period where you can get a voter ID card. Now, granted, it may come sooner. But we are talking government here, so it may actually not come in that time frame. So it's better that you register now. Get registered now because it is September. What's the date today? It's 22nd. Yep,
22nd.
September 22nd. You register today. You'll get it by October 22nd. Right. So the very last day we want people to really register is October 5th, so that they can have their cards by November 5th.
Okay. Now, question. Now, everybody that was registered, say back in 2008, they should still be registered and not have any problems, right?
That's right. That's correct. Yep, you're good.
Yeah, because I've heard questions like, okay, well, do I need to re-register? Is this something new? Does this affect old voters? This is for all you folks that have, first-time voters and of course the lazy folks that just haven't done it yet. Get off your butt and get registered.
Right. And all you kids between 18 and 35, put the Xbox down. You can get out and you can go register and vote. You can pick up registration forms at the public library. Right. You can get it online.
You can do it online now.
Yeah,
you can do it online, so you don't even have to walk that far.
Yeah, man. I feel old for saying this, but back in my day, you actually had to make an effort to get registered to vote. Now you don't. All right.
You had to make an effort for everything back in your day.
Exactly. under candlelight, there was no electricity either. So
they didn't have cars. They had horse and buggy.
Wait a second. I'm considering y'all in the millennials. Did I stop doing that?
Thank you very much for putting me in that group. I missed that age. My brother's in that group, but I'm Generation X, so I missed it by 3 years. Although I don't look a day over 25. So.
He got the gray in the beard. Don't trip, man.
Why do you think I keep shaving it all the time?
Oh, that's terrible.
Try to cover up the white.
Okay.
But seriously though, so by the latest to register, you said, was to October 5th to get that register card. And you're right. When you register, you get this thing in the mail from the county registrar that has your local district, that has your statewide district, that has the precinct where you vote. It has who your representative is, what district that is. Obviously, the senator is the same in Virginia. There's two. But most importantly, it gives you what your precinct is to find out where you go and vote.
Because that's another big thing. You don't want to show up at the wrong voting office.
Correct.
Yes.
You don't, Yes.
The other good thing that's happening in Virginia, and actually in all states, but especially in the swing states, is that there's really awesome, strong, progressive organizations popping up that are going to be organizing lawyers to be poll watching. So if somebody gets turned away because of their ID or because of their card, you can find a lawyer at that poll, at that location, and go tell them what's happened to you. So, we're going to be watchdogs. We're going to be placing watchdogs everywhere to make sure that folks aren't getting, treated unfairly.
All right. So do you have if people want to get in contact with you, is there a website or?
There is. You can go to allhandsondeck.net.
Okay. That was allhandsondeck.net.
That's right. Allhandsondeck.net. That's the name of the organization. You'll find it's a national group, so you can find organizers in several states. You can find me on there under the Virginia link. Call me, email me, Facebook me with whatever questions you have. If you want to get involved, let me know. We need volunteers to help register voters. Young people, we're going after you. Get involved. We're focusing on the campuses. There's lots of amazing campuses in Richmond and Virginia and Northern Virginia, and we want to go after all the college students who now essentially live in the state and can register to vote here.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I remember when candidate Obama at the time came to the convention center in Richmond. I was there. And it was amazing. People were like hanging off the rafters. I kid you not. It was quite memorable. Okay, so that was allhandsondeck.net. You can go under the Virginia link there and find Fatima Ashraf. She's working, like I said, with All Hands on Deck. Thanks for coming on. We'll definitely get you back on here so you can talk a little bit more about the upcoming events and how people get involved.
Awesome. Right. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, take care.
Wow, actually, that was great. So that was allhandsondeck.net. I'm telling you, man, I tell you this, I now I feel even older by saying this, all right?
Oh, what's that?
Because I'm using, like, examples, and every time my dad would use examples, I'm just like, when I grew up, never doing that. But, if people in Afghanistan and Iraq, regardless of how they got there, that's irrelevant. Right. If they can stand in line for 2.5, 3 hours under the threat of essentially getting blown up just to vote...
Right.
All right. There's absolutely no excuse for anyone in this country, or here in Richmond, let's say, specifically, not to be able to go and vote. And to vote.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And this is the other thing. I guess the other part of it is that we still have the issue of, a lot of people saying, well, I don't like either candidate. They don't represent my views or my values. The other part of this is don't wait until the presidential election to vote, because by then, that whoever it is already in motion, and there's a good chance that they may not necessarily reflect your views, but you still need to choose, as they say, maybe the lesser of two evils. That is still a responsibility But I was talking to somebody on Facebook, and we got a couple minutes left here. Somebody on Facebook that, he was like, well, I'm not voting at all, And I was like, well, then maybe you need to start looking at voting at, the lower level and getting involved with that. And maybe we need to, find support for somebody, a grassroots, and move them up the same way all of these candidates get moved up. Barack Obama was not born in the public spotlight. Mitt Romney was not born in the public spotlight. They had people and money that were backing them and supporting them and molding them to what they wanted that person to grow into a candidate, and that's where they stand now. So we got to start from the grassroots. We got to pay attention to people in our communities and our local government, and when we find somebody that's good, we need to back them and support them and move them up through the ranks. So hopefully we can get the right people at the top in the government to make this country and hopefully the world better, because we're a world economy. What happens in America doesn't stay in America. We affect everybody and everybody affects us. That's just how it is.
I want to thank Fatima Ashraf from All Hands on Deck for coming on. I'm not sure what happened to Dr. Abdullah. I was out in Nevada. I think we just, we're
it's too early, man. It's too early.
We're continuing to effort that. We're going to continue efforting to try to get him on. But seriously, thanks to Fatima. Thanks to the two Davids for calling in.
Yes.
Listen to the community radio show.
Great points from the callers.
Yeah, on WLEE News Talk 990. You can stay engaged with us throughout the week by going to our website at communityradioshow.com. We have our Facebook link, Twitter, YouTube.
Hit us on Facebook. Just search Community Radio Show. Bring that up. And Twitter is COM990, COMM Radio 990. And, of course, YouTube that has our video archives, youtube.com/Community Radio Show. You guys have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And be safe out there. Community Radio Show. News Talk 990.